We are live, and this is our first
We're
regular
back.
show, right? For Black
Yeah.
History Month. We are going to talk about, are we our ancestors' wildest dreams? We're going to talk about Black excellence and,
Or the thought of Black excellence.
yeah. Does Black excellence really lead to a money mindset that promotes wealth?
Building wealth, building generational wealth,
Yeah,
if you please.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got some feelings about it, and I think we're gonna hear from some folks. I'm just gonna warn you right now: don't get all up in your feelings about this because I have some problems with these hashtags that have come out and the thought process behind them, and that it has lulled us into a lifestyle that is not good for us.
Yes.
So let's talk.
And this is about thinking and
Yeah,
changing your way of thinking, because nothing changes until this changes.
that's
You have
right.
to change your mind and the way you think on things.
And really, that's the only thing that we really have control over, right? Like we know that systems need to change, and they have changed since I was a kid, but they haven't changed enough. And we only have so much control over that. But what we do have control over is our own thoughts
Mhm.
and how we react to those thoughts. So,
First, we should introduce
oh,
ourselves.
yeah. All right, y'all. My name is Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
You know that on our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth. Rick and I help folks who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan, get their money straight so that they can live the life of their dreams. And dreams, right? Talking
Dreams.
about our ancestors' wildest dream. But first, if you are new to our channel, then you might not know that about 6.5 or so years ago, Rick and I got a financial wake up call as we were getting close to retirement age. We looked at our savings account, we looked at our retirement accounts, and they looked piddly.
Crazy.
But we did get our financial act together and went from negative 22,000 over 800,000 in net worth. And you can do the same thing. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, please hit that like button. Thank you, Action VJ. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know every time we go live or drop a new video. So let's get this party started. Black excellence. I want to know from you guys, what do you think about when we say the term Black excellence?
I know when you say Black excellence, a lot of people, even I did, until I had a change of mind, was Beyonce money, Oprah, Jay Z, what's the boxer? Floyd Mayweather, flashing all that. Oh, wow.
The Obamas.
But I also thought of Black excellence as Martin Luther King. People that have given their lives for all the things that we do, trying to get us to change our mindset, trying to get us to do things that will better our people, to better ourselves.
The problem is, in my opinion, is that Black excellence, the notion of Black excellence speaks about exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that most Black folks that I know work hard. But when you look at their lives, they would not be considered Black excellence. Black excellence should not just be the exception to the rule. It should be a mindset, the way I think. So, okay. So we're gonna say hi to some folks as we get your. Ain't nobody coming. We haven't seen you in a while.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Ain't nobody come to see you.
He's in a fun mood tonight.
I love that part in the movie. That was my favorite line.
So I think perfectionism. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's say hello to some folks before we totally get started. Hey, Valerina, you were here early. We love it. Marguerite. Hello, Lisa. You should be in the Fire Over Facebook group now. So let me know that you get in okay. Hey, Tanisha. Holly, good to see you. I think you're coming to visit us soon. And Lisa I grew up in Brooklyn, now living in Arizona. Okay, because there's a big difference in that weather.
That's a big difference.
Right. So thank you, Action VJ. It was good to see you on Instagram and see what you look like. So it's interesting to finally put faces with these
Oh God,
names.
it's just so much fun when you
Right.
can put faces
Hey,
with the
Vicky.
names.
Hey, Vanessa. Loved your stuff on
Auntie
Etsy.
Trey,
Auntie Trey, good to see you.
Botati.
C Temp, hello, hello, hello. Barbara, Southern Rose Tea. Regina from Oklahoma. Regina, did you grow up in Oklahoma or did you go there to get that special deal that they were offering? I don't know if they were still offering, like if you moved to Tulsa or someplace, they were offering like $20,000.
They did. I missed that deal.
You missed that deal.
Damn.
Because we wasn't going to Oklahoma.
Damn.
Hey, Shauna. We weren't going to Oklahoma. Hey, High Vibe and Rhonda. Phyllis, I did send you an email back. Hey, Greta, good to see you. And Deborah, Stacy, Dream Epulence. Is this a new? No, we saw you last week. Yeah. Now that I see it in writing. Yep. Hey, Curtis, good to
Curtis,
see
hey.
you. Winnie, good to see you. Gina, okay. Why do we have to say it? Why do we always need a hashtag? I want substance and no hashtags.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I totally agree with you. It's like when we were talking about this, Alicia and I were talking about this earlier. It's like, why does everything we do have to be a hashtag? I understand it creates conversation, it creates different things, but we just can't leave it as a hashtag.
No. And the thing what makes me uncomfortable about the whole thing is that when I see what is black excellence, like on Instagram, on Facebook, and stuff like that, they're showing people with large houses, with large cars, and okay, I shouldn't read too much into it, but this is what I think. I think they're tied up in trying to get acceptance from the majority. And all of this stuff, if I drive the right car, if I live in the right neighborhood, and all of this, what is it really, really, really for? And it reminds me too much of respectability politics, where, if you don't dress like a thug, then they won't treat you like a thug, which we know is BS.
But they say that, but they can try emulating us, dressing like us, and everything else, but they don't lose their lives behind it.
That's right.
We lose our lives behind
That's
it.
right. That's right. They first they talk about it and ghettoize it, then they monetize it, right? Yeah. That's what they do. So I think no, thank you. All right. And Greta says, Black excellence to me equals a lot of stress, competition with each other. Yes. And that's the other thing. The notion of Black excellence and the fact that it is always about exceptionalism means that that everybody can't be exceptional. Because if everyone's exceptional, then who do we point to? Right. And so it naturally, in my opinion, breeds, especially in communities where there are less of us, or maybe even when there's more of us, right? At least this crab in the barrel mentality, only one can make it, so it's going to be me, and all of this other stuff. But
I don't care about anybody else but me. I'm gonna get paid.
Yeah, I'm gonna get mine.
I'm gonna get mine.
Right. Yeah. But they're forgetting about the fact that they're still going hat in hand to somebody, sir, can I have this promotion, sir? Yeah. I'm just saying. Yes, it sounds like exceptionalism. Okay, so Holly says the path to acceptance something I'm not searching for. You're not, yeah, right? So Curtis, talk more about that. I like it. It's the rule. Tell me what you mean by that. Hello, everyone. So excited to catch it live. Hello, Raquel. Okay, so High Vibe says that term has devolved over time. It used to represent integrity and racial cultural pride, but now it's more about consumerism. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see, right? This notion of the talented 10th, or, and again, that has devolved, right? But that there is supposed to be some Black aristocracy that's going to lead the way and speak for all of us and all of this other stuff. I don't like the fact that it seems to divide us. as opposed, and as Greta said, it means more
More
competition,
stress. Yeah.
more stress, etc. Job move from North Carolina to NYC. Ooh, okay. Hey, Latina Yogi, good to see you. Lisa had to log in again. Okay. So Auntie Trey says, I honestly thought of Black excellence was enormous wealth and competition to get it at any cost. That right there. That right there. The cultural appropriation doesn't result in any judgments that we would face wearing the same hairstyles, clothing, use the same language, etc. So Rick would get on my case because every single time, like especially during back to school week, I would see, Staples or Office Depot or Walmart or whatever, and they'd have all of these little non-Black kids rapping, doing our dances to music that sounds like it was written by us to sell their products. But when we were the only ones doing it, that's ghetto. So Vicky says, my grandparents didn't have much in the way of stuff, but they definitely were an example of Black excellence in my view. They had their dignity and self-respect. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, I think it has devolved from there. So when we talk about the problems of what they're talking about today, as far as Black excellence, I see emotional problems and I see practical problems. Like emotionally, it seems like it really isn't attainable. It seems like soon as you reach this level, what happens is you keep this I wish mentality or I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, life is passing you by and you turn around and you're our age and you'll be happy when what? When what?
Yeah. What are you waiting for?
When what? When you get that, those twin Teslas, when you get that bigger house, when you get that raise, when you get that, when I get to be VP, then it'll be good. Then I won't have to do X, Y. Yeah, you will. You just have to do it at a higher level, right? Yeah. You still have to put up with the bull. You still have to kowtow down to somebody.
Got to work harder than the others.
You got to work harder than the others. You got to be smarter than the others. The goalpost just keeps moving.
And you have to do it with a smile.
Yes. You're so much prettier when you smile. Well, say some shit to make, say something to make me smile then. Shoot. Stop getting in my face with this nonsense. So it forces us into situations and jobs where they abuse us.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're always trying to get that next thing. And never, ever, ever are we happy within it. And so it seems to me that just causes more stress. Oh, right. Yeah. And now you've got high blood pressure, you're getting diabetes or something like that. You're doing shopping therapy, eating therapy, sex therapy, whatever it is to numb, because some people are smart enough to turn around and say, something must be wrong with me because I'm still not happy. I got the corner office. I've got the nice house. I've got the nice car. My family is healthy and I'm still not happy.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Sounds not right.
Because there is not enough hard work in the world to fix that feeling that you get Sunday night.
That you got to go back to work.
You got to go back to work on Monday. And the thing about it is because, I remember before there was email. Some of you might remember before there was email as well. But these days, between the phone and then the pandemic didn't help this, and email, you're still working on the weekends.
Oh, yeah.
You're answering email. You're at least looking at it to try and get ahead because, whoop-de-woo, especially if you're managing a staff or this or that. And so at the end of the day, once you run your errands, done a little house cleaning, wash your underwear, whatever you got to do on the weekend, you got to turn around and do it all over again.
When do you get the time to relax? I mean, really relax.
there's no time to relax because you're in competition for Black excellence. So your kids have to be the epitome of Black excellence too. So you're running them around, if you've got kids, to this thing and that thing and these lessons and that lesson. There's no time. There is no time. All right. So let's see what people are talking about here. Black excellence to me is the freedom to be Black, not social status. Unfortunately, I think that you are in the minority as far as what you think, Curtis, when people say Black excellence. And so good. I'm glad that you think that
Yeah,
way.
definitely, because that's how I think.
Right. But that's not what people mean. And when you see it in the magazines and stuff, sometimes they are celebrating being Black. Sometimes they're saying we finally can wear our hair any way we want and it's against the law to discriminate. So sometimes they are. But more often than not, what they are pointing to is people who are exceptions. Wait, we're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. This may, okay, whatever, remove it. I'm sorry, y'all, hold on. Okay, go away. Okay, I don't know what's happening. LinkedIn, I might just stop that because LinkedIn always gives me, it gives me headaches. But anyway, so even though they might be talking about things that, some freedoms that we've gotten, etc., they more often than not, they're pointing to folks who are exceptions. Are whether they're athletes, or entertainers, or the first CEO who done this, or whatever. So yeah.
But I agree with you, Curtis.
Yeah. Hey, from the ATL. I do too, which is why you brought up Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. You see, and never satisfied. Latina Yogi says, my friend's daughter wanted a gap year to backpack before college, but told her no, Black folks don't do that. She wanted her to stay on track for college. She did, but she wasn't happy. And I remember talking to someone who was concerned about her little kids, and they were still very much school age. I would even say elementary school. And so they were concerned that by moving here, their kids might not graduate on time. And so I looked at her and said, on whose time? And why? What difference does it make if they graduate at 17 years old, or 17 going on 18, or 18 going on 19? What difference does it really make in the big scheme of things? And I wish I would have had that mentality with our youngest, but I didn't. Everything was a race, and kids were an extension of our egos, because whatever they did, right? It was extension of our egos. So yeah. Hi guys, something is very strange for me. You must suffer a lot in the US. Why you always speak like there's a difference between people because of the color of the people? Jorge. So, or is it George? So if it's George, I apologize. So yes, there is a lot wrong in the US, and you have to remember that the country was built by annihilation of groups of people. The industrial complex that you see today was built up on our shoulders. The United States never, ever, ever would have been the richest country if it didn't have 200 years of free labor. And we're not talking about that long ago. My great-grandmother was born on the plantation.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother was born on the plantation on both sides, which means that the people who raised my mama were raised by people who were born on the plantation. The people who raised my mom, their parents were born on the plantation. So it's not that far removed. And in the United States, And this is why when we do our on-camera things for Money Mindset Makeover, it's very important that we are able to stick to what we all know, right? And we're very protective of that space. But in the United States, everything is about race.
It is.
Whether we have social services is based upon race and who will get it and who won't. So when we came up with a social safety net, when all of the European countries after World War II were coming up with a social safety net, in the United States, we couldn't pass a social safety net unless it excluded Black people. But that was against the law. So what they did was they looked at the jobs that we held the most and decided that those jobs would be disqualified, and people who had those jobs, from collecting the taxes so that we could have Social Security. So basically we were excluded from Social Security. We were also excluded from a lot of the money programs that the military gave us. So one of the things is if you went to the military, they would pay for your college. But back in the day, even in my dad's day, that GI Bill to pay for college was excluded. And so there are ripple effects of all of that. That does not allow. So while everyone else were getting government sponsored home loans to buy their first house back in the 40s and 50s, we were excluded. When everyone else's parents and stuff were going on Social Security and having that social safety net so that the generation younger than them did not have to pay it forward, but could save that money for their kids, we were excluded. Right. And I can go on and on.
I was going to say, this is a conversation
that can go on and on. So if you look at the ripple effect of that, we have yet to have parity. We have yet to have equity in the United States. And so how does it look today? What it looks like today is that more Black people are in debt for college than other folks. That is not just because, we don't know how to handle our money. It is because we were not able to build up the generational wealth that was given to people from the United States government. We were excluded. I can even go back 200 years when they were giving away the Indians' land, the Native Americans' land. Who was able to get it and who wasn't, right? So throughout the history of the United States, this has been happening. Now let's add on to that the criminalization of being Black. You are born a suspect when you are born Black in America. There is not a Black person alive that I know of who hasn't been followed around a store because you might be stealing, who has somebody say something like, "Oh, you're different than other Black people. Like, they're not intelligent Black people. Give me a break." Or, "Can I touch your hair?" Or the cops are being called on. The cops pull you over. We get killed just for a simple stop. It just happened last week.
You lose your life for
being
Black.
You lose your life for being Black. Every male person that I know, none of them have been criminals in my family, and yet they all have had a gun pulled on them by the cops because they look like somebody who. This is the reality in America. It is lethal racism. It is ongoing. Do not let the media fool you. This is the truth. So, yes. When we say these things, we are saying them because our whole lives, what we are able to do, capable of doing, etc., is dependent upon the color of our skin. Are there exceptions to the rules? Of course there are. And they use those exceptions to beat us down. Why can't you be like the Obamas? Well, everybody cannot go to Harvard and Princeton or whatever other Ivy League school they went to.
Everybody can't rap. Everybody can't play basketball. Right. Everybody can't play any type of sport.
Right.
There's a lot of,
But they tell us, if you work hard, if you keep your nose clean, and if you dress a certain way, then you can make it. But when we do that, we are still paid. The average Black woman is paid 68 cents to a white man's dollar. The average Black woman who has a master's degree makes the same amount of money as a white male who only has a 2-year degree. These are the facts.
Something's wrong with that picture.
These are the facts. These are the facts. There is a problem in America when Black women who have a terminal degree, what is a terminal degree? A PhD, right? An MD, a lawyer, those are terminal degrees. They have a higher infant mortality rate than a white woman who is a high school dropout. So when you take away all of the disparities with education, with money, with access to healthcare, we are still dying at a higher rate. This is what it means to be Black in America, and Black excellence is helping with that because it is causing more stress and making us try to live up to an ideal that is nearly impossible.
So let's get back to what we're doing.
That's what Black excellence is, and that's why we have to have these discussions. So, all right, Raquel, I grew up in the DMV and I was surrounded by Black excellence. And for me, that meant educated, affluent Black professionals who were dignified and respectable and expected the same from their children. I say it that way because when my parents went to university, first of all, student loans covered 80 to 90% of the average tuition for a public school education. And the interest rate on those federally funded student loans was 0%. The United States does not want to continue educating its people. It wants its people to be ignorant, which is why they're trying to erase slavery from the books.
From the history books.
Right, and act like it didn't exist. So keeping up with the Johnsons ain't worth it. Stuff depreciates. Yes, it does. So I'm tired of being the only one in every room I enter, and that excellence is lonely.
It truly is. I feel your pain. I truly do.
Yes, yes, yes. They steal from us and claim whatever we created as if they were the original creators. Yes. And, look, we can point to time and time and time again, especially back in the 50s and 60s when our artists had their music and stuff stolen from them, right? Like they got paid $10 to write a song and recorded it. And then they got maybe $15, $20 more. And then that song was taken and sung by Elvis Presley or somebody else. And they got no money for it because they sold all the rights.
Yeah.
All of these things, exactly. When do you have time to really relax? You don't. Holly says to George, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, sweetheart. I don't know if it's George or Jorge. In America, that is the truth for many of us. And unfortunately, it's not really a choice to think like that or not, right? It just is. It just is what it is. Black excellence is working twice as hard to achieve half the recognition, right? Being overworked and undervalued. Overworked and undervalued.
What did Jorge say?
He said, I couldn't live in a country.
I couldn't live in a country.
That we can't
That's
either.
America.
That's why we're not
That's
there.
America.
That is why we're not there. When I tell you they call the police on you for simply having a picnic in the park or relaxing at Starbucks, we are telling you the truth. We are not exaggerating.
I think he's from here, right?
If so, his name is George. I don't know.
So wherever you are, and you're sitting in a park or having a barbecue in public space, because Portugal, they use their public space, which is wonderful, but it doesn't work that well in the United States anymore. It's supposed to, but you get the police called on you.
What are you doing in this neighborhood?
When somebody says, it makes me nervous or it scares me. I feel threatened. Like my life is threatened or something like that just because you're there.
And that's an excuse to pull a gun and shoot someone. Guns are there are more guns in America, George, than there are people. So Auntie Trey had a long conversation with her baby sister years ago about how she appears to have it all, but she's still so unhappy. She got so upset with me and yelled at me, I'm happy, I tell you. So emotionally, we've talked about Black excellence, and this not the Black excellence that Curtis was talking about, but this notion of overachievement seems unattainable. The goalpost keeps moving. It forces us into situations that don't make us happy, into
Right.
jobs that don't make us happy. Um, if you just work harder, you too can be Black excellence. But who do you know who really doesn't work hard?
We're hardworking people.
Yes, especially when we went to work. Now, we're not going to talk about Stephanie Perry because she will tell you in a minute. But by and large, we work hard, right? We are more likely to have 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs. Practically makes us spend to have the trappings of what we believe it's supposed to look like. For some of us, it keeps us in debt, which means it keeps us enslaved. And so, which leads to the second point. Is this really our ancestors' wildest dreams? Are we really living our ancestors' wildest dreams? Did they dream of us being beholden to bosses who look at us as an equal opportunity hire? Did they dream of us working longer and harder than our colleagues for less money? Did they dream of us being enslaved through debt? Did they dream of us working ourselves to death? Because that's what's happening. That is what's happening. Hello and greetings from Buffalo, New York. Grateful for, deeply appreciative of this conversation. Hello, Tasheen. Good to see you.
Good to see
Actually,
you.
BJ, yes, my 5-year. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. I just bought my home in 2021 and can't wait to get rid of it and get out of here. The extreme Texas weather is exhausting. So Bree, I think, or is it Brev?
I think it's Bree V.
So Bree V, yeah, I think so too. But Brev made me think of Brother Man.
Brother man.
Brother Man.
Oh, Martin.
Yes. So regarding getting rid of your house, if you bought it in 2021, did you buy it at the height when people were having bidding wars? Would you have to sell it at that much of a loss, or would it possibly be better for you to rent it out for a while until prices go back up?
I was going to say, can you make it work for you?
Yeah, make it work for you, make it provide income for you. High all Black excellence is the modern day whip used to increase productivity for less pay compared to others while driving up consumerism. Yes, yes, and yes. It is fruit of the slavery tree, as my friend Stephanie would say. Can Black excellence be a loving community like our Black Utopia? I think we'd have to take it back and redefine it, Curtis. Because it's being used too much in the media, like Mo said. I see it used more like this.
I would love it if it could.
I would love it if it could too, right? Like we'd have to take it back, like, like gay people took about the word queer and change that around, Personally, I'm through fighting. I am through trying to change the tide of a system that is against us. What I'm not finished doing is trying to get as many folks who look like me on the road to financial independence so you can be happy, joyous, free, tranquil, and at peace. That's what I'm not finished doing.
If we could do it one person at a time.
That's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do. Colonialism is one heck of a drug in the USA. Sad but true. Yes. And colonialized minds can kill you. Patricia says, our minds are never at ease. We are Black Americans. You said something like that earlier. You said something like that. It's hard to be Black and be tranquil.
Yeah, because when we were having our discussion, we were talking about tranquility, and I said the only time Black people probably ever feel tranquil is when they're asleep.
And that's if you're not having a nightmare.
When you're in a REM sleep, if you're not having a nightmare, that's when you're tranquil. Or if nothing is bothering you, nothing is, hey, and you wake up refreshed. That's your tranquility. Other than that, every day.
Even when I was asleep, I was doing the job in my sleep. I was at work in my
Well, see,
sleep.
I haven't done that in a while. I
Well,
don't do
yeah,
that
I don't do that
because
anymore.
I used to. Oh my God, I
We are
couldn't get it out of my head.
right. Our minds are never at ease. We are Black Americans all year, all day and night. Life plus things that are placed on us. Parents, stay out of trouble. Get your education. Old school parent. Yep, 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 yep. I think the love of money and material things are killing us. That right there, Curtis. And the thing about it is, Black excellence very well could have started meaning exactly what you said, but somehow along the way it has been usurped,
Yeah,
and it is more about capitalism and consumerism
what you
and
got?
conspicuous spending.
About what you got.
Right. And unfortunately, everything in the US is based on race. Yep. That's why when you go to other countries and see people are just people, we cannot comprehend. Um, yes. Yes. But I am detoxing, and Portugal is helping with that. We are detoxing. And when I say that, that means it's hard for me to watch American commercials, and he watches Hulu, which means we get
You're
American
going to get them.
commercials. Right? It's hard for me to watch American news. I learned about the incident that happened with the young man in Tennessee
Yeah.
when we were at the airport, and it was on CNN at the airport. Otherwise, I would not have known about it. And here we are yet again, George or Jorge. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Having Black Lives Matter marches and candle vigils.
It was black cops who did it.
Yeah, colonized minds.
Colonized minds.
Colonized minds. Hey, Chris, you're never too late. You're never too yet. Yes, I'm living for this history lesson. Oh, yes. So High Vibe writes, a great book to read about this is The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. If you have not read that, and if you are still part of the system, and especially if you are involved in city government, you need to read this book, The Color of Law. And it talks about sanctioned U.S. sanctioned discrimination, that it was codified within the laws of the United States as late as the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even 80s in some places. So when something is state sanctioned, there needs to be, when you can make a case, there needs to be a remedy. There needs to be, people need to be made whole.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Touching hair, right? I'm just saying, people need to be made whole. Yes, the birth disparities is why I had my babies at home. It was safer that way.
And what we're doing here is just a good thing to do. It's good to talk about it. It's good to put your thoughts out there.
We have to talk about it because they are trying to erase
They're trying to erase our history.
Right? Part of our history. That's not our whole history as
Well,
people of the
anything
diaspora.
that's good is fine with them, but they're trying to actually, literally.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's the United States is never going to get better until they admit to what they have done and not just apologize, but really like a truth and reconciliation, not just about the past, but what is continuing to happen and the damage that it has done, and what are they going to do to make us whole? What are they going to do to make us whole? And I'm not going to sit around and wait for it.
No.
So that's why we're having this discussion today, because we want to start changing the way we think about things and stop waiting for the system to give us our own reparations. Right? So we can make our own reparations up through here. You can have all the so-called excellence you want, but if you don't love yourself, it means absolutely nothing.
That is
right. And how do you show if you love yourself? Okay, the second question we asked, what did our ancestors teach us, or what was passed down to us by word or implication?
Well, they always, I think they taught us not to be greedy, selfish. I think they had the sense of having to take care of each other, having to look out for each other.
They also said money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees,
Money doesn't grow on trees.
right? And so if you were someone who, I remember aunt telling me when I said, it's time for them to give me a raise. Oh, don't be greedy now. You don't want to get fired. It's like, no, but I want to get paid what I'm worth. So yes, that excellence is a lonely place for many of us, definitely. Christian nationalism is on the rise in the USA. Can't.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's GOP crap. That's what
Is
they're
that what
doing.
you
That's
mean
all
by
that
Greta, by Christian nationalism?
Yeah,
Like fake
the Christian
Fake
church.
Christianity?
Yep.
Black excellence often comes with a large side of self-hate. Holly, tell us more about that. I want to hear more about that. That's the important part. The implicit message is that the majority are not striving, which is completely untrue. The majority of us. Caste systems are very real in America. Yes, yes, yes. Why America as one people only? Don't fight other issues like healthcare for everyone, free, stop the police state. America became, what when they spend a lot of money on armies. Exactly. It is all about a government. It's all about control. Okay, you're Portuguese. Okay, so is George? I hope. I'm learning. We're having our weekly lessons.
but the things that we're learning about Portugal and seeing in Portugal, I mean, it's so great. I was something I learned, and I was reading on some Facebook things, groups that are in Portugal, and the things it's like, relax. You're in Portugal now. You don't have to rush. Because I remember a couple of times going to the store, and it's like, geez, these people take forever, And they're talking. The lady's talking to the cashier, and in America, you freak. It's like somebody is liable to say, "Baby girl, we got things we got to do." It's not that way here.
Yeah.
It's you let them talk. You in line, and your turn is coming. Just relax. Ain't nobody rushing to get to the cashier, to get all that stuff, to get out the store.
To do what?
To do what?
To do what?
It's relaxed.
Yeah. And well, they said that in Mexico too. Remember we were
Yeah,
taking
and they
an
told us
Uber
in Mexico.
and
You're
he
in
was
Mexico
like, he
now.
said, you're in Mexico now. Relax.
In America, you don't do that.
The children's story, John Henry, is all about working yourself to death. Like
Yeah.
that's a badge of honor. Exactly. Is this what our ancestors dreamed of? Is when we say we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, we're their wildest dreams? For real? For real. When I moved from the South to the South from New York City, I worked 3 jobs. These folks down here thought I was crazy. Hard work was ingrained in me. Yeah, we work hard. Our ancestors' wildest dream was their people would be able to do whatever they wanted when they wanted. Their wildest dream was for us to take a nap at 12 noon. That's what I'm talking about, right? And to be able to walk down the street without being afraid for your life, for crying out loud. Yes, we can go anywhere we want to. Kind of. Because anti-Blackness is everywhere, so kind of. I am picturing myself escaping this rat race. We deserve rest, like the Nat Bishop reminds us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
True freedom for Black folks is not going to come from legislation. True freedom for us is going to come from financial independence when we finally figure out that being in debt is being enslaved. When we finally figure out that whether we are a school teacher or the CEO, that we can find a way to financial independence. It may look different for the for the school teacher than it does the CEO, but we can find Adelia's proof of that, right? Like we can find our way to financial independence.
But what's the first thing that a lot of people will tell you that you need to do in order to attain financial independence or anything else that you're trying to achieve is you have to have a total mindset.
Yes, we definitely have to have a mindset makeover, and we're going to get to those at the end. So stick around. What time is it? Okay, we're still good on time. So ancestors teach us, passed down by word or implication. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I know I heard money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Don't be greedy, along with some stupid stuff like you can write a check today. And if you ain't got the money in the bank, but you got it in there by Friday, it's going to take at least 2 days for, floating checks. Is that what they
But
call that?
that wasn't that wasn't just us.
I don't know who else did it. I know the adults in my life told me that nonsense. They were talking about spending money that I didn't have.
They were talking about
working the system.
Well, you could put it that way.
He's trying to be nice. He tried to be nice.
They were talking about delaying.
They were talking about spending money that I did not have. And the other thing that
not illegally, but kind of legally.
It was working the system. Where's the loophole?
Working the loophole.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
There you go. I was trying to find a way to say it, and that's it. Working the loophole.
The way to say it was they were telling me to spend money that I did not have.
True.
That is a bad habit to get into.
But if you think of it as working the loophole, then you don't feel as bad.
Well, you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't.
Computers are on the scene, right? Okay. I did, but I live in an affluent area, so I couldn't. Okay, that's the house in Texas. So I couldn't buy in this neighborhood now for the same price. Would have to spend at least $150 more. Okay, good. Using it for the equity or rental. Yeah, and I guess it depends on what kind of money you need. If you don't need money right now, putting that equity into the stock market may be a good thing because the market's still a bit down, even though it's on the rise. You can still get more bang for your buck. Or do you need some steady income coming in right now, in which case maybe keeping it as a rental might be a better idea. Black excellence in its original and current iteration is rooted in racial capitalism. As you said, Halisi, we need to reclaim it and reshape it. Yep. We're all excellent being our authentic selves. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely. Greetings. Oh, hey, I'm Karen Louise. Haven't seen you in a little bit. The fact is, Black people don't have the privilege of living in ignorance. No, we do not. We have to always be on top of our innate consciousness. Yep. I deplore Black excellence. Let us just be. Yes, yes, and yes. And the thing about it is, being educated in this and that. What happened? Like, my grandparents were not. My grandmother didn't go past 8th grade. My grandfather didn't go past 11th grade. Yet, they had a home. My grandfather worked hard. He had made an honest living. My grandmother worked hard when she did work, and she made an honest living. And why aren't they, by today's standards, they would not be considered Black excellence, right? No. He was what did you call the people who helped with the luggage back in the day? Skycap. He was a skycap. My grandmother cleaned the rooms at a hospital. Mm-hmm. That's what they did. That's not what Black excellence looks like today, right? Like that wouldn't be considered excellent. But they provided for 4 kids who were never hungry and never sitting in the dark, always housed and fed, right? Black excellence is a facade. You can be excellent in whatever you choose to do. It starts from within. Yes. That's just what I was talking about. Yes, yes, yes. We are never at rest. We are always on guard. Yeah. And especially I call it putting on a face to meet the faces that you meet, which is a line from a T.S. Eliot poem. And I never could be in the United States, except for around my family, of course, and at home. I could never be myself. I could never be out in the world. Like the conversations that we had today, I could have at my last job because I worked for the Democratic Party, as you guys know. So they expected me to have these conversations. But let one of the Bernie bros say something and talk about how I don't even want to get into it. So I still had to be on guard. And I had to make sure that I was not talking about them. They're the good guys, right? I did buy During the Craze, but bought in a Highland. Okay, yeah, I did read that one. Okay, let's keep going. Hi, Moni. Good to see you. I'm 57,
Moni.
a single mom of one who is taking my USA detox beginning January 2024. Thanks to you guys and people like Cartez. I think you mean Cartez, Ross over at Move Abroad and Thrive, and Tia Nikki and others. Yay, 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 yay. Yes. I'm saying, when I walk down the street and I finally realized that I'm not walking a certain way, doing certain things to show that I'm not a threat. I don't do that anymore. I just do. I just be. Right? Walking into the store with a bag and not thinking that, cops are going to be called. Of course, the cops are standing right there because real actual cops, not cops, off-duty cops in, rent-a-cop uniforms. It's real cops kind of guarding a lot of the stores and stuff.
Well, they have both. They have the security guards too.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Okay. I have to replace my car, and I literally had to catch myself because my initial thought was, what would people think about this make or model of a car?
Don't care.
That's what Black excellence does. That right there, Curtis, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I had a Jag. I had a Range Rover. I had a Mercedes. And not a dime to my name. Just ridiculous. All right. That was nothing but the hate we carry in ourselves and towards each other. Yes, yes, yes. And, in all fairness, it's hard not to have some level of self-hate growing up in America. And it's so insidious because it works in the background, right? It works in the background and tells us our hair is too kinky, our nose is too broad, our lips are too full, right? And that's just the aesthetics. The things that we hear from teachers in elementary school, because I thankfully went to a school with all Black teachers, but a lot of folks don't get that, especially not these days. So, the things that we hear about from our teachers or don't hear from our teachers, all of that and the media and everything. And even as much as we can consciously be aware of, our beauty just in being who we are. And I mean inner beauty, not just aesthetics, right? It's hard. It's hard not to have some level of self-hate. So, that's makeup and a lot of sleep.
I don't have makeup on. Thank you, Curtis.
We literally talked about selling our house today and cutting ties, last debt to the U.S. Yeah. Yes. And the scarcity mindset is real. It's real. So y'all know that we have launched our course with that, and we're going to go to the 3 concrete steps that you can take to change your money mindset. I'm going to get to the rest of those comments as well. But we did launch our course. Our first on-demand course is launched, and it is in the description below. It is called Beyond the Bling, Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. Because I remember our friend who is a mortgage broker, and he talked about how many people he refied their house so that they could pay off their debt, just for them to come to him 2, 3 years later back in debt.
Hmm.
There needs to be a money mindset
Yeah.
makeover, or you will keep repeating the same things over
If you
and
don't change your
over.
mind, if you do not change your mind, you'll keep continuing doing the same, keep those habits, keep those same ways of doing things. It doesn't change. You have to change them.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
Simone says they're trying to make it seem that if you're not a white Christian, that you're a pariah. I had to take a break from reading that book. The numerous ways the government supported economic equality was mind boggling. She's talking, or he or she is talking about the color of law. Is deep, y'all. But it's good. I saw my kinfolks being there and taking care of each other. See, family was key. I had a village of people taking care of me. Some of us have that, and unfortunately, not enough of us do. That's what I'm talking about. The large side of self-hate comes from the notion of having to assimilate or tap dance in order to get to the next level or maintain the level you've already
Hmm.
achieved. Yes. Yes. And what would get me is when I, of course, always the only Black person in the room, right? Um, and even sometimes with the party. But what would get me is when, like, I am either in charge, or I am the client, the customer, and I've got all of these white males trying to tell me what I want and what I don't want, or how we should do this,
How
or
it should be.
how it should be. And I'm,
Yeah.
don't, why don't you just do my job, but give me the money? Yes, white supremacy is part of the white Christian nationalism. Oh, it's part of the GOP now, and it's
GOP.
absolutely terrifying. Black people and Black people of color are now targets in 2023. Yeah. Yeah. And all in the name of God. All in the name of God. I mean, that mashup is just so toxic and dangerous. All of that rush mentality here goes back to money. There's never enough time because you're always on the clock, even on the weekends. Absolutely. You don't come from no po folks. I did come from po folks. Well, my parents weren't, but my grandparents were. They were semi-poor. They were semi-poor. Not, I mean, not dirt poor. Not like walking to school with cardboard in your shoes poor, but a couple steps above that. I've been a decolonized, but the heart, and I have decolonized the heart and mind. Yes, pilgrimage for a year. Yes, I love it, Carla. Um, so what did we get from our ancestors, both uh, by implication or by word, that credit was bad and scary? Yeah. So being in debt is bad, unless you have something that is appreciating while you are in that debt, and it's appreciating at a faster
Hmm.
rate than your interest rate, right? Um, And so it's interesting to me that a lot of us and our parents and grandparents never learned to use credit the way it's supposed to be used and effectively,
Right.
right? Um, so yeah, I bet my own ancestors' wildest dreams was to leave the USA. I am going to lead the way in that regard. Yes, 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 and yes. Although today it's interesting to me how many people we get calls from people who one of the spouses does not want to leave, and what can they say to them, and yada yada. And I don't understand when you turn on the news or whatever and you see what is happening in the streets of the United States, how you could not want to leave. Or even if all you do is watch ball and the ball players are always taking a knee or not taking a knee, or standing for this or standing for that, this dead person, that dead, like, you cannot get away from it. I don't understand. Fear is a fear is dangerous.
Yeah, it truly is.
Fear is dangerous. So what fear looks like for some people is that white nationalism stuff. But what fear could look like for us is staying stuck on stupid. That's what it could look like. My grandmother always said, be thrifty with your money. She meant to save it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My grandmother did not say that. She didn't say the opposite. She didn't say anything, which is not good either. What really hit home for me is when number 45 came after a person I personally knew. Ooh, reporter April Ryan. I remember,
Yeah.
yes. And I were classmates at Morgan State. The FBI came to her home because of death threats. Yep. There nothing is sacred anymore. It's just not.
No, and it's just become the norm.
Yep. Hey, Christy G, good to see you. Why do you think Greenwood, Oklahoma massacre was silenced by America?
In Tulsa too.
That's
well, Tulsa,
yeah,
Greenwood, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Greenwood is the neighborhood. So yeah. So for those of you who do not know, and I should hope that all of you know, but they called it Black Wall Street. The neighborhood, or maybe town, was called Greenwood. It was a suburb of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was all Black with some Native Americans as well. Very self-sufficient, had a lot of Black millionaires.
Black
and
banks, Black businesses.
Black everything. And they had a network of allies, of white allies, who would invest their money for them on the stock market. So they had lots of very well-off people. And they had poor people too, but it was the whole gambit. And it was a thriving community that was state sanctioned to be burnt down. The governor sent in bombs because how dare they?
How dare they not need us?
Have no idea what I did.
She clicked on the wrong thing. It's like, okay, where we go?
I had no idea what I did. Sorry, folks. I don't know what I did.
You clicked on Leave Studio.
I guess I did click on Leave Studio. I was trying to click this. We found out some of our ancestors were runaway slaves. That made me proud. So I think their wildest dream was freedom. I think they would be proud that I am planning to leave this country. Yes, yes, yes.
I found out my great-great-grandfather worked on the Underground Railroad.
Yes.
In Pennsylvania.
My great-great, ever-so-great-grandmother was the slave master's mistress.
Oh. Well, my great-great-grandfather, he has a plaque in Pennsylvania with his name on it.
That's amazing.
Saying that he worked on the Underground Railroad.
That's amazing. So Iris is coming. Let us know. Send us an email. Maybe we can do coffee. Nubia Net says, by the way, I met Adelia and Rashida yesterday in Oakland. Real excellent.
Oh, cool.
Yay. Did you help them unpack some of that stuff and carry carry some of that stuff out of that storage unit? George says, for all of you saying American people live in debt, here you learn not to spend more than what you have in the bank. Otherwise, you're going to go to a life of hell. Yes. You know, they make credit so easy to get, and they kind of incentivize you to get credit, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, you get 10% off if you get the credit card.
Yeah, because they want you to fail on paying them back. They want you to pay the interest. That's what it's all about. That's where they make their money.
Exactly. So Chrissy says it means always on guard is being a way of life. Yes. So let's talk about, and then we will get to the rest of these. Let's talk about the 3 concrete steps you can do to change your money mindset. So number 1, you want to see that? Yeah. We got notes right over here. So number 1,
figure out what would truly bring you joy, peace, and tranquility besides sleeping.
Yes. What would truly bring you joy? Because we spend so much time saying, I will be happy when. I will be happy when I get that VP job. I will be happy when I get that Tesla. I will be happy when I get that 4-bedroom house with pool in the back or whatever. And so are those the things that would really bring you joy, peace, and tranquility? Or is it what you think will come with that that will bring you joy, peace? Does it come from having everybody be proud of you or having people be jealous of you? Or is it that stuff that you think is going to bring you joy, peace, and tranquility? So we talked about some examples of what it would look like for us. And you said, what did you say?
I said not having to answer to anybody except my spouse because we're in this together, but not having to go through, getting somebody outside of my family, outside of my spouse's approval to do the different things that I want to do, and acceptance if I choose not to do what they want me to do. We go through that too much. Too much.
One of the things that brings me joy is not having to do another annual review and have these people who are not smarter than me tell me how I need to improve myself. I remember when I was working at the venture capital firm, and they started doing 360-degree reviews with all these women, these catty women who said, well, she rolls her eyes and she always has an attitude, yet I'm the first one and the last one to leave. And what? Like she doesn't want to do, like she's lazy. And I just told them, I said, this sounds like a cultural issue. They don't understand. So, and then when I left and I had my exit interview, she says, well, what can we do to improve? And I just let them have it. I let them have it. I talked about how unfair their system was, how unfair some of the, I got written up for something that was totally out of my control. I said, and then when you finally let me totally control it, it went out without a hitch. Out of hitch. That tells you it wasn't my fault. And I never got an apology for that. I let them have it. So, but never having to deal with that ever again brings me joy. That brings me joy. What brings you joy? Knowing that as long as we stay on budget, we have no money worries.
Right.
Yeah. No money worries. He was trying to get worried about if our places were empty and what that would do and this and that. He was trying to act like he was worried about that low key.
I wasn't like I was going to lose sleep over it or anything like that, but it was just a thought. It's just a thought in the back of my head that would come forward every once in a while. But I knew we were okay.
It shouldn't even be a thought. So to me, when you're low key worried or high key worried, it is because you don't have a plan or you haven't done the math. And so I did the math for him. And I said, look, if one of those places is empty, we could pay for it for 9 years with what we have saved.
Well, we have budgeted for it. We would be fine. And I know that. It was just, so I'm not having to worry about this kind of stuff.
It's new. It's new. It's new. So figure out what truly brings you joy, peace, and tranquility. For me, it's being able to travel anywhere in the world that I want to.
Yeah.
And we can do that now.
We can do it.
We can do that. Now, can I travel anywhere in the world as often as I want first class? No. But anywhere in the world, pretty much as often as I want, because travel days are hard, y'all.
They are. They truly are. I mean, it's just knowing that you have to be somewhere.
Are they going to weigh our luggage?
Are they going to weigh your luggage? Is are there going to be cancellations or different things like that? But
It's nerve wracking. And then outside of the United States, every single other airport that we've been to doesn't give you your gate number in advance.
no,
So you just kind of have to hang out and remember to keep looking at the board to figure out what gate number you're going to go to, and then know in advance how long it's going to take you to get there.
yeah, they gave us our gate number yesterday as they were boarding.
As they were boarding, yes. So when we got to the gate, they were already boarding.
Yeah,
And
it was.
we it couldn't have been up there more than what, 3 minutes?
Yeah,
So how people knew and had boarded before us, I don't know, but we were one of the first people to board. So, all right. So the other thing that brings me joy is making sure that I have lots of free time
that's important.
to just do whatever, or nothing,
Or nothing.
or just sit on my behind and scroll through Facebook, which
That's
I
what you
rarely
wanna
do.
Yeah,
You do
I
it.
mean, I do it, but
Yeah.
I'm looking for family things, and because sometimes it seems like that's the only way you get family communication.
Well, that's true.
It's on Facebook.
So let us know in the comments. And if you're watching from the future, hey, yes, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. What truly brings you joy, peace, and tranquility?
Okay.
Are you able to provide where I and others should place large sums of money where it will grow in the stock market once we sell our home? Oh, so we're not financial advisors. But
Gotta say that we're not financial advisors.
So I would say do your due diligence, do your research. I can tell you what we are invested in. So we have the majority of our money invested in a total stock market index fund. Actually, it's Fidelity's total stock market index fund, VZROX, which has a 0 expense ratio because the fees will eat you up. So especially when you get into those higher numbers. We have so it's between a couple of total market index funds from different brands because they've been rolled over and stuff like that. An S&P 500 index fund, and then I think we've got a couple that are like small cap businesses, medium cap businesses, and things like that. But they're all index funds for the most part. That's 90% of what we're invested in, and that gives you instant diversity. If you don't have anyone constantly reinforcing loving yourself the way God made you, then you are bound to fall into self-loathing. Yeah, absolutely. In 2025, cut ties, establish a base in Mexico or Portugal, and slow travel. Okay, Action VJ.
Yes.
So we're gonna hopefully be able to make it down to Mexico this summer. But only to the high altitudes because I'm not trying to feel that heat and humidity in the beach areas. Merida, Cancun, Playa, Puerto Vallarta, none of it. Microaggressions are a killer. They are killing us, y'all. They are killing us. Hey, Regional Sky Girl, good to see you. My Nigerian husband had to teach me it's not how much money you make, but how much of it you spend unnecessarily. That right there.
Yeah.
That right there. I tried to send a commit, but it's not coming through. Any suggestions? Comment? Because I'm not sure, Victor, what you mean, brainwashed. Because that came through, yeah. I heard of Tulsa, not Greenwood. Yeah, so Greenwood is the town that is, or maybe it was a neighborhood.
It's the area, yeah.
That the Black folks lived in. And yes, the Black Wall Street money stayed in circulation in that neighborhood. And that's what segregation did, right? It's hard. Like here in Portugal, they still have a cottage industry. So there's lots and lots and lots of mom and pop places. So it is possible for money to stay within a community a lot more easily than it is in the United States, where everything has been corporatized.
Yeah, because their major shopping or grocery shopping, Continent,
Auchan and Pingo Dos.
Auchan and Pingo Dos. The two larger ones are Pingo Dos and Continent. They don't have Safeway. Well, I'm going off of Denver. Safeway, King Super, Albertsons,
Yeah,
Whole Foods. They don't have like 10 different
chain.
big chain stores that you go to.
Well, and not only that, I don't know if there's any government subsidies with this or not. I have no idea, but I do know that most of the living situations are multi-use living. So the bottom level are shops, and they're small enough that the rents are probably a lot lower than they could have been if they had been bigger. And so you can find fruits and vegetables. They're like tiendas in Mexico, right? You can find fruits and vegetables. If you're out of mayonnaise or something like that, you can just run there and get it without going to the major grocery store. So I try to buy all of my produce from those folks because it tends to be fresher. Question. Oh, yeah. If you guys have a question, put a Q in front of it so that I know. Now that you're living in Portugal, do you now feel in the way, now feel free in the way our ancestors intended? Getting there. Getting there. I don't feel like I have to put on the face to meet the faces that we meet,
No.
especially because I'm not trying to get a paycheck from anybody. So I'm just me now. I'm just me. I talk the way I talk. I don't have to change into my corporate talk or any of that stuff anymore. So from that standpoint, yes. But it's insidious. I keep saying that, but it's true because it just sneaks in when you least expect it, and it's gonna take a minute.
It's going to take a minute.
It's gonna take a minute, but I can feel some of it being let go, Greta. So yeah. Of course. Of course, white folks are also fearful because the US Census projects exactly that they'll be in the minority. And if you just treat people right, it won't matter. But they're so afraid that we're going to do to them, and this is what they have said, this is not speculation, that we're going to do to them what they did to us if we're ever totally the majority and in power. And in the US, the celebration of holidays is connected to consumerism. Yep. Speaking of which, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh, Lord.
I hear now Black Wall Street is coming back. I had no idea until I moved here a few years ago. Oh, good to know. Good to know. I'm not even 50 and I'm already burned out. We sold our home in Florida, renting right now. Hopefully we can get out of this soon, planning on leaving the US for Mexico. It's not surprising because if I think about it, I was probably burnt out around then as well. And if you started working at 21 years old, I started working at 15. But I guess I had my real job, first real job, quote unquote, like I guess, working for service industry wasn't a real job.
Adult job.
But my adult job. I worked at Taco Bell. I worked at the movie theater, and those were real jobs, and they paid they paid money, real. Right? But how
those
that
aren't your adult jobs,
right? There wasn't a career path associated with those.
Yeah. Could be.
There could have been, but that's not what I went to school for. So yeah. I mean, 21 to 50, that's 30 years working. And if you got 2 consecutive weeks off, you're doing good. I mean, I walked into a job. By the time I got to be 50, it's like, okay, so 3 weeks vacation because the venture capital firm gave 3 weeks. So after that, it was 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I am negotiating straight off the bat. And I got it every place that I went. But it was just on paper.
Right.
Then when you go to take it, it's like, well, where are you?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you at?
It changes.
Yeah. So Auntie Trey, I met with my HR partner last week, and she asked me what my 2023 development plan was for the year. I said ease and rolling out by year's end. Ooh, I want to know what she said to that. I got to know what she said to that, right? Okay, where's our little thing for asking questions? Okay. Okay, here we go into bringing joy. What would bring me joy is to have free time to explore my hobbies. So I love to sew. And I have a sewing machine that my husband bought me. Thank you, hubby. And it is in Denver because I wasn't sure if we would have the space or what our life was going to look like. So I didn't know if I was going to really have time to sew. So I'm trying to create a life where there's time for that. Right now, we're so busy exploring and doing stuff like that that it seems like we're either planning who we're going to interview, what are we going to talk about, or we're out there in the streets seeing what we can see. So it's still also new to us that I haven't had a chance yet to start exploring the hobbies. But yes, absolutely. I feel happier now that I'm working towards my financial independence. No matter what's happening in the US, I stay focused on the plan. And that makes all of the difference
That
in the
makes a
world.
difference. That's the mindset.
We're going to get to number 2 in a second. I need free time every day. I love it. So what we're writing right now is what would bring you true joy, tranquility, and peace. Knowing that I'm raising my kids in a place that allows them to be children, right?
Yeah.
And does not look at our little boys as grown when they're only 12 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old. And trying to be fearful of baby boys. I'm still trying to figure out what brings me joy. My idea of happiness is changing. Southern Rose Tea, I want you to truly take time, whether it's in the bathtub, in the shower, in your whatever, take some time to close your eyes and picture what it would look like, what on a daily basis your life would look like that you believe would bring you joy. That doesn't mean that you have to stick to that and once that's
Right.
what it's got to be. No, but it should evoke the feeling of peace and tranquility when you picture yourself doing that. So allow yourself to do that and don't put parameters on it. Well, but could that really happen? Well, but that's going to take a long time to get to that. Don't think about any of that stuff.
Can't think of that.
I want you to sit down and truly think about what would bring you peace, joy, and tranquility. And I'm going to tell you, because if you guys saw the interview on Stephanie Perry, I would sit in the bathtub and I would think about these things and picture what our life would look like. And does it look exactly like that? No, because I don't have a bathtub. And I picture myself in the bathtub here. So one of the things is I don't have a bathtub, just a shower. So, but in general, yes, I love walking around, and I'm still just, George, if you're on here, I'm still just enamored with the architecture of Portugal. I am enamored. The history. When I see things that are really, really, really old, and we live in the outskirts of the historic district, so I love it. And I could stay out all day taking pictures that in my mind I'm going to blow up and frame, and they're going to be on our walls, and it's going to look so cool and bring me joy. And this is what I do. And so I want you to allow yourself to think about what would bring you that joy and tranquility, and see if it evokes those feelings in you as you're thinking about it.
And an important thing too, Southern Rose, I'll just call you Southern Rose, is give yourself time to get there. It may not happen the first time you do it. but continue to do it, and it will come to you. It will happen because you got all this other stuff in your mind that
And all right,
you
and
got to
all the
get out.
noise. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a lot. That's It happens to a lot of people. It's like, okay, it's like telling somebody that they should meditate. And I remember when people used to say, "Oh, you need to meditate and this and that." And of course, you sit there and you go through the motions, but it doesn't come to you maybe that first time,
Or second,
or second,
or
or third. But if you keep doing it, it will.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
will. Give
Absolutely.
yourself the time.
So thank you, Ivan. Hello to both of you. Share coffee on me. Thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank
you.
you. As y'all know, our super thanks, super sticker, and super chat money goes to our scholarship fund. We will be awarding a scholarship to someone to do our money mindset makeover, so beyond the bling. And if for the early enrollees, we are including 4 Zoom meetings, and it's for folks from the diaspora. Those on-camera events are for folks from the diaspora. So because this is an on-demand, self-paced course, right? But we are going to do 3 live Zoom Q&A sessions between February 18th and March 4th. And then the second one will be about the fourth one will be about 6 weeks later. So that can give you time to go through the materials. The materials will be released on March 4th. And so if you need a scholarship, you truly, truly, truly could not take this any other way, then send a message to us via email. You can find our email address under About on our YouTube page. So thank you. And thank you, Holly, again
Thank
for
you,
the super
Holly.
sticker. We really, really, really appreciate it. The community appreciates it, and we are going to put that to good use. So R. Hogan says, "Hi guys from Chicago, and those things for me come with the understanding that everything is temporal." Yep. So take things in stride and map out your life accordingly. I think we tend to be a little bit overly optimistic that we're going to live until we're 100 and we're going to be healthy and in our right mind.
Mhm.
And that, I don't have to save today because once I get that promotion and I'm making $185,000 a year, or making 150, or making whatever it is that you are striving for, then I'll start saving. Then I'll do this. Then I'll do that.
And all we're doing is moving the goalposts.
Yeah, and all we're doing is moving the goalposts. So Karen Louise says, "Joy for me is having great health. Without it, you really have nothing." Yes, yes, and yes. But some of that, Karen Louise, is not having to worry about money helps you have better health in that it relieves the stress, which we know stress can cause a lot. Joy is taking a walk in total green space, nature at its best. My way, hope to meet you both. Oh, by the way, hope to meet you both. Yes, Patricia, definitely. Let us know when you're in town. I love taking hikes. Love it, love it, love it. How do y'all feel about the Portuguese being the first enslavers of our people? I mentioned living there too. My mom, she was like, "Why?" Yes, they did. They were the first ones to start the slave trade.
Didn't Joe say that?
Yeah, my father said the same thing. And Harvard used to be a Christian university. Things change, right? Uh, is there racism here? Of course, because people are involved. Is it lethal? Are they calling the police on us when we're sitting in public spaces and things like that? No, no. Are they killing us for traffic stops or asking, "What are we doing walking in this neighborhood?" Please don't even pay attention to me. And I don't look American. We do not look American here. We blend in. They assume we're Portuguese. They speak Portuguese to us and then we open our mouths and show how ignorant we are. We don't know the language yet.
They say English to speak English.
Poor Americans. But yeah, so it is safer here for us than it is in the United States. It is more peaceful here. It is more free here for us in a country that started the slave trade, yes, than it is in the United States. They're not having gun drills here at the kids' schools.
Mm-mm.
Just saying. Knowing that you're moving to Portugal in 2 years brings me much happiness. So having a plan. So let's get to number two. Number one was figure out what truly brings you joy. Number two, okay, y'all, you need to look at your financial footprint and see if it aligns to what you say brings you joy, peace, and tranquility. And if it don't, why not? So what do we mean by that? Are you spending money and saving and investing money that aligns with what you say is going to bring you joy, peace, and tranquility? I want to hear what you have to say.
Gotta be honest with yourself.
Yes. Because, I mean, for us, I was doing shopping therapy. We were eating out a lot with the excuse that we deserve it. And I'm too tired to cook. And his cooking.
I cook good. She just don't like how I cook, but I cook good.
Nah. Thank you, Auntie Trey. Thank you. So yeah,
Thank you, Auntie Trey.
He seasons like the Germans.
Oh wow!
Didn't you say your granddaddy was
I ain't say nothing.
Welsh or something?
No, I never said that. Irish.
So I'm looking forward to the freedom to focus on healing, self-care, and seeing the world. And living in a place where kindness and community are normal. Love it. Okay, Raquel. So tell us in the comments, how are your finances supporting this? It takes a while to transition to peace because of what we're used to. Yes, yeah. It does. I read White Fear, but it's been so long, I'm not remembering it too well. See, she started working at 18. I started working at 15, and back in these days before computers, I went and got my a fake. Basically, I faked my birth certificate so I could get a what do you call it? The working pass or something you had to get back in the day, worker's permit. I think you had to get from school. So, Alicia and Rick, is there anything you truly miss from the U.S. life that you don't have in your Portugal life? Any regrets at all?
Anything I miss?
Well, okay, so there's two things. Anything that we truly miss, that's one thing. And then any regrets?
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
At all. We were in Manchester, UK.
We were in Manchester, UK just yesterday.
So yeah, and beautiful architecture there, but I missed my tile roofs of Lisbon.
Oh yes, when we were flying back and we were over Lisbon, and I was looking at all the different things. Of course, it's nighttime, but I could kind of pick things out because of the lights. But it was like a sense of relaxation. We're back home.
And the weather is lovely, and didn't have to wear all those clothes.
I could sleep late. I ain't got to worry about no cat walking on my head.
The kitty
was so cool. I really loved that cat. He was cool, but he'd wake you up at 5 a.m. walking across you and stuff. Not hard, very gentle, but yeah, it felt good to be home.
So no regrets.
No regrets.
No. Ask us again next year after we do our taxes. Then we'll see. But right now, no regrets. I love living here and can't wait to explore more of the country and see what else it has to offer, both in the countryside and down in the other major towns and cities. So anything we truly missed from our U.S. life? Grits, Mexican food, real Mexican food. There are a couple of places here that are pretty on point, but there's
those
always
tacos
something.
We had that one place was good.
They were
I haven't really had real guacamole.
Yeah, we could make it. We could make it.
And I know we can make that.
But yeah.
I'm still on my quest, and I have some actually coming tomorrow from the States. Is my Starbucks French roast
coffee
beans.
And half and half.
I don't have
So it's
half
food
kind.
based.
Yeah, it's
Is there anything socially, culturally, or anything like that that we miss from the United States? Mm-mm. No. I started working at 16, will be 45 next month. I got 5 more years, maybe, and plan to be done working other than leisurely. Maybe you can speed that up. Maybe you can speed that up. See, that's what I'm talking. Micro and macroaggressions had me in therapy. We all should probably be in therapy,
oh yeah.
right? See, she started working at 16, never having to drive again. That would bring me joy. We like not having to drive.
Oh, I
Yes.
love it.
Yes, that is nice. The joy to learn and change my mind at any time. Yes. And so someone asked, I think it was Jazzy Old Chick who asked, does it seem like the folks who move abroad are folks who tend to be educated? And I said, there might be, a correlation between education and money, right? We know that, not necessarily, but there could be. But I also find that people who tend to be curious
Mhm.
and always wanting to learn and not afraid of change also. And so that's what Curtis is reminding me of. So yay, yay. And then we want to hear what you have to say, Southern Rose. So Deborah says joy and peace are doing things on my terms.
Yes.
Right. Like not having to, we all will have to do something that we don't like doing. Like when I have to every month and move money around and do this and that and figure out, the bills and this, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But that's the only thing that I have to do that I don't like doing. Even though I've got everything on auto, I just have to make sure that money is where it's supposed to be. Walking on the beach and my weekends back, the whole weekend. See, here's the thing, tea time. Weekend is only a construct for workers. Right?
Yeah.
Every day is a weekend.
Every day is a weekend.
Every day is a weekend. Wait, what day is it? I don't know. So if we didn't do this on Sundays, I would have no concept of what day it is. I really wouldn't, except for stuff is closed. Having every Black American leave the U.S. Now, I'm not sure how I could understand why that would bring you peace, joy, and tranquility, but I'm not sure how you could look at your financial footprint and make sure that that's in line with that. So, visualization is powerful. It is.
Yes.
It is, because you have to be able to see yourself doing the thing or doing nothing and being okay with that, still not having to come up with excuses for why you deserve this nap or why you deserve to just, play silly games on your phone and listen to audiobooks. You shouldn't have to have an excuse for that. Just because I want to. That's why. Not sure what Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6 is, Ivan. Let me know. Let me know. My pastor just preached on using your imagination while waiting in faith. Yes, this is confirmation. Yes, yes, and yes. And that's what faith is, right? So whether you call it manifestation, faith, it's the same thing. It is the same thing because you have to move forward knowing
Right.
that God's got your back. Okay, he's talking to Moni. And that time when one tribe fought. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Okay. How is Portugal treating Black people today? So, it's interesting that you should ask that question because one of our other Teddy, I don't know if you watch Live Teddy. Hey there from the future. He saw the interview that we did with Naki, who is from Togo and has been here for about almost 10 years or so. And he is the one who does the African Lisbon tour and has given us a lot of the unknown history about Portugal and their involvement in the slave trade, et cetera, et cetera. So there probably is a difference between how immigrants from the continent are treated and how we are treated. There could be. I don't know because I don't speak the language, baby. I don't speak the language. When I look at the news, I don't see our faces as perpetrators. I don't see our faces as dead people shot by cops. That's what I don't see. And we watch the news on a semi-regular basis. I watch it on my phone, and then sometimes we watch it on TV. One, so I could practice listening to Portuguese. I don't see that.
Yeah.
So racism is everywhere. Anywhere
Yeah,
there's
it
people, there's going to be racism. So that's what I don't see. It is not lethal here as it is in the United States. If somebody rolls their eyes at me, I don't care. The fact that they don't feel the need to call the police because I'm walking wherever I'm walking. Yeah. And we've walked everywhere from what looked like the Beverly Hills and Cascais, right? To some places that are a little sketch and everything in between. And never, ever did we get what are you doing here? Look. So I don't care how people feel about me. I really don't. I don't feel like I'm treated any differently. And and it's hard not to look for it. It's hard not to look for it being American. Mm-hmm. So,
when we were in Cascais that one time in that little Beverly Hills part of that, I did feel a little bit uncomfortable, but not because somebody made me feel uncomfortable. It was just the American thing.
Yeah. Because there wasn't a lot of people on the street to make you feel.
There wasn't a lot of people on the streets to make, and the people that we did see actually spoke to us.
Yeah.
And were very, very nice, but never, I didn't fear that a police car was just going to roll up on me and, what are you doing here? Let me see some ID. I didn't feel that way. Uh-huh. But I just felt uncomfortable because I wasn't used to it. But I felt uncomfortable carrying a shopping bag into a store. And, and Halisi said, why are you worried about carrying a shopping bag? Because
one, we got the receipt. Two, everybody's walking these, in Lisbon, most people walk, so you're going to be carrying stuff.
And they got their shopping bags.
So. Yeah, and you have to bring your own bags.
But that's an American thing that I had to get past again.
And so when we were in Cascais, once we started coming back down the hill and he started seeing the graffiti, then he exhaled. Okay, I feel, and then he started seeing some more black folk. Okay, I feel better now.
That's American conditioning.
Yeah, right. Racism is everywhere, but where is it the least? Right. Exactly. Where does it affect you the least amount, right? And so not understanding, as George says, no country is perfect in the world. Absolutely right. Some are just worse than others, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to decide what it is that you want your daily life to look like. Like, we consider South Africa, but the fact that we brought the internet down, made me uncomfortable. The fact that my, stepsister is going through rolling blackouts and water and all of that, and she's got the type of money to have all these generators and this and that and the other, and perhaps our money would go that far there too. I don't know, but I don't want to live that. I don't want to live that way. I just don't. I want to be able to. I'm a little spoiled. I'm a little spoiled American.
I mean, if we ever got to a point where we did not feel the way we felt about this country,
we could always leave.
We can always leave, and we would let you know.
Yeah, we could always leave. So, and that's another thing about not buying a bunch of stuff so you can pack up and leave when you want to leave. I would like to live near a large body of water. Yes, step out on the beach in front of my home, bike to the market, and more than 300 sunny days a year. That sounds like Portugal.
Atlantic Ocean is not too far.
Well, even, where were we? So we went down to Caxias, I think is how you pronounce it. And then I want to say
it's going towards
Paso de Arco. I think that's where we were. Arcos. Yeah. I'm trying to see the sign in my head. And George, perhaps you can help us with this. So those two, they're like suburbs of Lisbon. They're like 3 or 4 or so stops past the bridge on the train. And lots of single family homes, y'all. I have no idea how much they cost. They look like $1 million homes to me. And maybe they are. I don't know. I didn't look. But lots of single family homes with beautiful gardens parks and all of that, beautiful parks. And the beach is right there. It's right
It's
there.
right there.
Rick was like, yeah, I could do this.
I can live there. I
But
could, but
there weren't as many tiendas and things like that we saw where we were walking. So that kind of, I wasn't feeling that. Okay, but how is Portugal treating Black people today versus 400 years ago? Yeah, so we answered that. High vibe. So there's just no comparison. There really isn't any comparison. And I think one of the differences is now, like Portugal says they were the first to get rid of the slave trade, and maybe they were the first to begin getting rid of it, but it wasn't. It did not include the slaves, just like with America, right? Like it didn't include the slaves that already existed. It means we ain't gonna do it no more. We ain't gonna get no new ones. But y'all who are enslaved, y'all still enslaved, right? So, so that was definitely that definitely has affected what culture is like today, because that's what they teach in schools. So, is there a little bit of denial? Perhaps. Perhaps. No one wants to think that their ancestors were evil or whatever, right? But here's what I see is different. And this is, how deep this is, I don't know. But when I'm in America, and I always look at the younger people because they are going to show us what the future is going to look like. When I'm in America and I see groups of young people, be it college age or high school age, or maybe even middle school, when you have control over who your friends are and stuff like that, there's a group of white kids and there may be one Black kid, the token, right? Or one Asian or one Latino, like that, right? Here, I see a lot more folks hanging out together that are different races or different color skin. And it's not the token. It's like, like if there's 8 people, it may be 50-50, it may be 60-40, maybe even 60-40 more POCs than not, right? And so the other thing that I see a lot more interracial couples, a lot more. And there's a lot in Denver, just probably because of the military, right? But a lot more, and a lot more of it has been going on for a while. So we told you guys when we first came here, what surprised us was seeing, and if you're Portuguese, don't get offended by this. This is what we do not see in the United States. And it made me think differently in a positive way about Portugal. We saw a white grandfather nurturing his Black grandchild. I have never seen that in the United States. Now, I have heard white men tell me that this or that or the other that I am saying about the reality of Black folks in America is not true. And they know because their son-in-law or their daughter-in-law is Black and they have a Black grandchild. But I have never seen the amount of physical nurturing of Black grandchildren by non-Black grandparents as I have seen here.
Yeah, I think the Speaker of the House has a Black grandchild or nephew.
The Speaker of the House here?
No, McCarthy. But you never see him.
He
made mention of something like that.
Do not talk to me about American politics, because you know.
No, I'm just saying. It's not politics. It's just the thing of, I know I had heard him say that or make mention of that. Slight mention.
Action, BJ. So hominy or grits? Because we found a place actually, but you have to be a veteran to get in. So yes, I do have grits right now because Heather of Black in Portugal gave me grits. So I do. I'm an animal lover. What's the climate there like in Portugal? Pets are everywhere. Dogs are everywhere. And unfortunately, they let them poop on the sidewalk, and some people don't pick up their poop. It makes me mad.
Most do.
Obviously. Otherwise,
they're very good with their dogs.
There'd be nothing but poop.
A lot of dogs are off leash.
Yeah. These are definitely city dogs, like our dog. I don't know. I don't know. He might
No,
not be able to
you'd
handle
have
it.
to put that fool on the leash.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to handle. He ain't got no home
He ain't
training.
got no coup.
Peace and serenity has been having you two come into my life. Oh, thank you. The
Thank you,
community you
Karen.
bring to us has been community. It's y'all. Y'all are great. Y'all are pure love, hope, and all of that, and you actually light up our lives.
Yes,
Seriously.
you do.
See,
You
you're
truly
gonna
do.
you're gonna make me get teary here. I don't want to get teary. My portfolio is very similar to yours. I'm investing. I raised this year, but I did have a setback over holiday 7K in shopping therapy, 7,000, Raquel. And instead of feeling better, I felt so much worse. Can you take any of that back? Are the tags still on any of it? Right? Like, just because we bought it doesn't mean we can't take it back. There is Starbucks in Lisbon, but they don't sell the French roast.
I think they're going to stop selling the French roast in the Starbucks stores and stuff.
He
like
would
that.
know.
I read that.
I like espresso. It's not that deep to me. So we have not been to as many museums as we would like. We did put out something about the Tile Museum. We have a short video about
which was
that.
awesome. And I don't feel my video did it justice because there's a whole lot more to it, but I can only show you so much.
All right. So the 3 concrete steps to change your money mindset. Number 1, figure out what truly brings you joy, peace, and tranquility. Number 2, look at your financial footprint and see if your spending aligns with what you say you value, right? With what brings you joy, with what brings you peace and tranquility. So number 3, if it does align, then there's no need for a makeover. But if it doesn't, there is. Ask yourself, what outcomes did you believe those purchases would have on your life? Who was that who just said? Raquel. Ask yourself, what outcomes did you believe those purchases would have on your life? Then what was the reality? What was the real outcome? So you had in your mind what the outcome was going to be, but what happened in reality? What was the outcome in reality from those purchases? The feeling you were trying to get to, I want you to write that down. As you were doing that shopping, as you were thinking about, that next dress, that next Tesla, that this, that, I want you to write down what you had hoped to bring about in your life by that stuff. And then write down, are there other things that could give you that same feeling?
Right.
So, for instance, my ego was all tied up in being the Jeffersons and moving on up and having that, we always joke we had 6-figure titles, but without the 6 figures, right? Having that 6-figure job to go along with my 6-figure title and to be this and that and the other. And then what? And then what? I don't know. I really, really don't know and then I still would be just as tired as I had always been, would not have enough time for true self-care as I never had, right? Like, there was not enough money to give me that time back. There just wasn't. And so when I think about it, and when I think of a sense of accomplishment, I think my ancestors' wildest dreams is for us to be joyous, peaceful, and have tranquility, true joy. And, and with that comes freedom, right? Like being free, being truly free to do what you want to do when you want to do it, that brings me joy. And the only way to have that kind of freedom is to have financial freedom, to have that financial independence, right? And so if your money is not aligning, if how you are using your money is not aligning to what you say brings you joy, it's probably time for a money mindset makeover. And we have a course for that. And it is in the description below. It is called Beyond the Bling. We as Black people have to get beyond the bling because that is not what's going to bring us joy. It's going to keep us enslaved and in debt because there's never enough. There is never enough, right?
And the one thing that we do is we always we say to ourselves in order to change our mindset is, I'm tired of being tired.
Sick and
Gotta be
tired
sick and tired of being
of
tired.
being sick and tired. Yeah. Yeah. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Because
I really
we
was.
could have continued working and doing this and hoping for more, but we just said, no, we're done.
Yeah.
We're tired.
Yep. Enough. Because we were not at 100% FI yet. As you guys know, we are at Coast FI. And so in my mind, we were not going to quit until we got to all the way to fire. And I'm not sure if I could have lived that long, to be perfectly honest. I was so tremendously unhappy, so unhappy that I'm sure I would have made myself sick.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
My friends always called me a go-getter, moving to places sight unseen. I've always had a mindset of, if I don't like it, I can always move. That's right. However, I learned years ago, home is where you make it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And I was the first to go to college out of state. I ended up going back to LA. Then I moved from California. So this probably wasn't a big surprise to my side of the family. Yes, my finances will support life abroad. I've been investing over 50% of my salary for several years.
Awesome.
Yes. I began using points to cover my mini vacations each year so I don't feel deprived. Exactly.
That's what you have
and
to
that's
do.
what you do. And that's what you do. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Okay, so that was Proverbs. I love it. Yes. 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 Weekends are for workers. Yeah. In aviation, we will say it's day 1 or of 6 or 2 of 3, etc. Our best phrase is it's go home day.
Wow. Yeah.
I used to want to be a flight attendant so bad. I thought that was like the coolest job. Yeah. I thought that was the coolest job. As I said, so because I'm American, so I'm in Pingo Dos and I'm having to rearrange my stuff. And I realized a policeman was right behind me, supposedly guarding the store, right? So what do? I take my bags and I sit them, where he can see them, and I start doing my rearranging because I'm American and I'm still thinking that I am under suspicion. What was the policeman doing?
Probably looking on his phone.
Texting his girl. I don't know. But he did not look up once. And whatever he was doing on his phone was much more important than what Halisi was doing. That's for sure. Dual residency in Portugal and Mexico is the dream. All right, Greta, that's right. That's what we did. That's what we did. And hopefully we never have to go back to the United States to live ever, ever, ever again. Had to retire because of COVID, working on investing and budgeting for our move in 2024.
Cool.
Very good, Curtis. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
Good.
So no, it was not Costa de Caparica. It was way before that. So Caxias, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Caxias, which is like 3 stops past the bridge or so ish, right? So we got off there and then we walked all the way down to Paco de Arcos, Arcos.
I don't know.
You was about to.
I was going to say.
You're about to look. I know it was Caxias. I know that it was because you were talking about. Doesn't Cinnamon live here?
Yeah, I did ask that.
So okay, where did you find grits? But let me look at the package. LOL. Yeah, it was probably some hominy, right? See, right? I would always pick up the poop, especially in America. But the social and political upheaval in the U.S. makes me fantasize about living abroad. Come. Show style and spirit. You're either new, welcome, or this is your first comment because I don't recognize the name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here.
Give it a shot. I mean, no pun intended, but give living abroad a chance.
Yeah,
You'd be
definitely.
surprised. You
Definitely.
truly would
And
be.
the other thing is, so yes, George, you know, there's lots of people who've been under oppressive regimes in the past, including this peninsula, right, by the Moors, for a millennia nearly, right? But the other thing about living abroad, y'all, is it forces you to learn so many new things that it's working this muscle right here, always working this muscle. I think it makes you younger. I really do. What did I do? Okay. What are some of the places outside of Lisbon to look for housing? We live in Texas, so we are determined not to overpay on foreign real estate because we did not pay a lot here. So, luxury vagabond, I would not think about buying until you have been here for a bit. The real estate market here works totally different. If you've been watching our stuff, it works totally different here than it does in the United States. Like the idea of like flipping houses, the way we can do it in the United States and stuff, and it's just not a thing here. The banking system is different. If you're thinking about paying cash, you really just need to understand what your options are, what's available, and what is happening in the marketplace to make sure you're not overpaying. So I would come here and rent for at least 6 months, if not a year,
Get a feel for the market.
to get a feel for the different areas, for the market, to also understand what is happening with their version of city council. Where are the investments going? What can be a deal that you can get, a value today and is, an up and coming neighborhood. And up and coming neighborhoods here in Portugal are not like the up and coming neighborhoods in the States because there's just not as much crime and stuff like that, right? This is the sixth safest country in the world. So start a minimalistic life. Stop buying stuff and wasting money on rent to store all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Number 2 was the key for me. I started questioning what I spent all my money on. Now I spend with intention. I'm so much happier. Yes, yes,
Good.
yes. So number 2, she's saying, look at your financial footprint to see if it aligns with what you say your values are. And I'm going to tell you, once you figure out what brings you joy, it's really, really easy to stop the shopping therapy and everything that resembles that. It really is. Spending with attention has removed a lot of my money anxiety surrounding my thinking I don't have enough exactly to fulfill my goals, right? Yeah. And keeping up with the Joneses and all that stuff. Agreed about the obsession with bling. I worked as a loan officer. Yeah, Paso de Arcos, right? Arcos.
Mm-hmm.
Shores, I'm sorry, we're learning. Agreed about the obsession with bling. Yes, I worked as a loan officer, 60 plus hours per week. I bought a Mercedes, but once I got the car, I was over it. Don't believe the hype.
Nope.
And they're expensive to repair. Right? It's not like Toyota. It's expensive to repair. Most of my money goes to student loans and eating out. The feelings I seek from food are comfort, security, abundance, and maybe even love. I feel guilty knowing I should probably invest and save more.
You'll feel better.
Igami. I think that's how you pronounce your handle here. Living the life you really, really, truly want to live is attainable. It is attainable. There's no luck involved. There is no wait until you get the contract or until you get the VP spot or any of that stuff. It is attainable, and it's attainable sooner than later. And I can't remember who it was I think it was Lisa, who has the Nigerian husband, who said it's not about how much money you make, but how much money you spend and what you spend it on, right? So if you're spending your money on buying stock, okay, that's great because you're saving and investing. But the reason why I tended to eat for comfort, the reason why I tended to shop for comfort is because I was unhappy, because I didn't think that the life I wanted was attainable. And the clock was ticking. And here we are just, a year. I mean, this time last year, I was so depressed. December of 2022, I was in tears every other day. I know they work hard. I just thought it was glamorous. I just wanted to fly. I wanted to be the one who like flew from LA to Paris, then LA to Rome and all of that stuff. I didn't understand how coveted that was. I thought if you just wanted, you got it. So yes, we're renting our house out in Denver. And then we have, Caxias is on the other side of the river. So it wasn't that, it's Caxias, Caxias.
Kashish.
So did either of you give up a pension or accept reduced retirement benefits because you decided it was just time to leave? Yes. So because I am not adding to Social Security anymore, when I get 62, it will be less than it would have been had I continued to work. I'm good with that because I can't get the time back. That's the only thing you can't get more of is time. You only get what God gives you. Right? I can always make more money. I can always work remotely but I cannot get more time.
And that's the thing. Social Security wants you to work until you can get the maximum benefits because
right. Because that adds
they
to
ain't
their
gonna be
GDP.
paying it as long.
That's right. And then they know that you're gonna die 2 years later because you done worked yourself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the way to Cascais.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. Yes, I'm a new subscriber. Welcome. I've been led to all the beautiful content about Blacks living abroad lately. I'm definitely inspired. Yay!
Good.
Yes. So watch some of our other stuff because we got permanent residency in Mexico at the same time we were applying for residency here in Portugal. And so we are our commitment is to be here for at least 5 years to get permanent residency or citizenship here in Portugal. And that does not mean that we have to give up our citizenship in the United States. Because that's not easy. They want us to pay them taxes.
I just found out a friend of mine, his wife just got her passport.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She got her citizenship for Portugal, but because of her
grandparents. Yeah, she got a passport. She was able to work that out. So no, we are not thinking of buying a car in Lisbon. They drive crazy here.
They scare me.
They drive crazy here, and the streets, because Europe is old, right? It's not built on the grid system that most of the United States is.
You don't have the wide streets like you do.
You don't have the wide streets. It's not here are the north-south streets, here are the east-west. It's like they were all built around churches and they just kind of spiral out from there. And so there's lots of turny roads and really narrow roads and things that they call roads that really look like walkways as far as I'm concerned, especially in Coimbra.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I was born here but no, I ain't feeling it.
We were thinking about getting scooters. Yeah, but then we have to be on the same street with them drivers.
Those boys, I'm telling you, they scare me.
Yeah, they scare me.
And I've been driving forever, and it's like, I can't do it. I'd be scared that I'd cause an accident. But they do drive on the right side of the road.
They drive on the right side of the road.
England, they on the other side. They
got it backwards. Hi, everyone. So grateful I discovered Stephanie Perry. Then you too, making plans to leave, doing research daily. Yes. Let us know where you're looking at. And you guys, so we do have, and we're going to wrap this up. It's over 2 hours. Okay. And we're a little bit off topic here. And I'm going to go back over the 3 things from Money Mindset. But we do have a Move Abroad toolkit. So if you guys haven't gotten our Move Abroad toolkit, it's free. It comes with a series of emails. You should get that. It goes through some worksheets on what you need to do, a checklist, etc. And it'll help you, just kind of map out your Move Abroad plan. Even if you don't have the money saved right now, but you're thinking this is something that you want to do, You should go ahead and get it. And no, we don't have the wait list here. So there it is. That's not what I wanted to show.
What did you want to show?
Oh, it's way down here. This is what I wanted to show. Okay. So let's take that off. All right. Let's get through the rest. Are you doing a meetup in April? We are doing a meetup in April. Thank you for reminding us. So Exodus Summit, y'all know, is going to Morocco, and we're doing a meetup after that. So it's the Wednesday after the last day of the Morocco trip. So April 26th. And then we're doing another meetup right before our Rich Journeys meetups, and that's June 20th. So Black in Portugal is partnering with our Black Utopia, and we're going to do these meetups together. And so Heather and I have been talking and getting that stuff together. As soon as we know the particulars, we will let you know. But mark your calendars, April 26th and June 20th. See, okay. That just tells me my pronunciation is just all off. I'm sorry. We are learning. The pronunciation is just so hard. Okay, I'm going to get through these last questions. So there's the car question. I answered that. Hi, everyone. So grateful. Yes. Is it so hard to let go of how crazy everyone thinks you are for wanting to sell everything and move abroad? The clock is ticking and you have to live your life.
Not to me.
Yeah. I know when we first started mentioning it, our kids, most of them thought we not were crazy, but didn't understand. Right. Why would you want to leave the US and stuff like that? But they definitely came to understand. And then as far as my friends and stuff, no, they were on the same boat. Like they love to travel and stuff like that. So it was no big deal with them. As far as my mom, yeah, my mom thinks I'm crazy, but she's always thought that. And she's like, so you just gonna abandon us, huh? You just gonna run out, you just gonna, yes, and yes, because it's my life and I only get one of them. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is a take. And I don't want to, if I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't want to turn around at 80 and if I woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
And then, my body's breaking down and I can't walk up these hills and see, I already know I'm taking my Social Security at 62. Yeah, I'm taking it at 62. I'm getting every single penny. Every single penny. All right, y'all. We are going to wrap this up. Let's see. Yay! Already booked. I can't wait to meet you in real life. Action
Definitely.
VJ. Praying we could make the journey. I'm excited. I hope that you can. Definitely. Absolutely. All right.
So we get all that?
We got all of that. So I'm just going to figure out what truly brings you joy, peace, and tranquility. Number 2, look at your financial footprint and make sure it aligns with your values. Then number 3, if it does not, why not? Why not? Ask yourself, what are the outcomes that you had hoped to achieve by what you were spending your money on? And what was the reality? What did you achieve? What did you hope to achieve? And then what did you achieve? For us, it was debt and a lot of stuff with tags still on it. No, for real though. For real. And the feeling you were trying to get, write down a list of other things that you think will actually get you there. And so for me, the feeling of achievement, we were going for the trappings of looking like we had achieved. But really, achievement to me was having my time back, having 100% control over my time and doing whatever the heck I wanted. That was the ultimate achievement. And that's what I thought the next job, the next this, that was going to get. Like that was going to give me agency over my time. And all it did was just make me miserable.
Yeah.
Right? So we want you to have agency over your life. We want you to live, really truly live our ancestors' wildest dream. And that dream is for you to have the freedom to do whatever the boop, boop, boop you want to do with your day.
Be everywhere you want to be.
Wherever you want to be on this planet.
And congratulations, Mo Ward. Your D7 is
Already approved. Yes, I hope to see you also in April and or June. So if you need help with that, we do one-on-one calls. The information is in the description below. We have our Beyond the Bling Money Mindset Makeover for financial independence that we have launched. I'm so happy with the pre-sales. It also comes with a community that we have ongoing where we will answer your questions past the point of having those group Zoom sessions. So all of that is in the description below.
We love you guys.
And we will see you next week. Bye.